got in trouble about was like, I never did my homework and I got bad grades, which is probably surprising to people, but I just like, I was too involved with, I would rather be like stalking, emo guys on MySpace. So I just never, or writing on my live journal. I never did my homework. So and my
I was a
parents would
live
just
journal
freak
girl
out.
over Zanga as well.
Oh, of course. Hot girls are on live journal.
Hello and welcome to the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast. I am your host, your roast coming queen, a girl whose Harry Potter fan fiction was 39 chapters long, Elise Morales. And with us today, she is the editorial director of the Betches Sup. She's my co-host and the backbone of the Betches Sup podcast. But before all of that, she was a graduate of Apex High School. It's Amanda Duberman.
It is. Hello, Elise. Hello.
Apex High School that sounds like the name of like a high school for superheroes.
It does. It sounds really like, did you ever see Mean Girls, the musical?
Yes, they sing that song, Apex Predator.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So what is the Apex referring to?
So the Apex is actually, I should clarify, the Apex refers to the name of the town.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
that makes a lot of sense, but it does truly, it's like, okay, this is a high school that's in the sky. It's for mutants.
It sounds like a high school for Republicans. Like it sounds like your Apex High School. It's the peak of high schools.
Yeah, that's actually also true. It could either be a high school for superheroes or it's a high school for people who really believe in like racial supremacy. And,
oh my God.
Some really upsetting ideas.
I'm sure that for many years when it opened, it's in North Carolina. So
yeah. Okay. And gotta ask, what is the mascot of Apex High School?
The mascot of Apex High School at the time, and I think it still is, a cougar. Pretty
generic. I was a cougar.
You were a cougar too? Oh
yeah.
Man.
Oh my God.
Because I listened to this podcast, and there's a lot of cougars, a lot of us out there.
A lot of cougars, and then also like all of the other sort of various mountain,
cats of prey,
that kind of thing. Bulldog, I think, is the other big. That's the big standard. We've had a lot of bulldogs run through
here. Have you watched the Netflix series Dog?
No, I haven't.
Has anyone else told you that? Okay, the reason I bring it up is because they have the first episode of the second season is like behind the scenes of what it's like to be a bulldog mascot. Highly recommend.
Well, I know that like UGA has, I mean, they've run through a bunch of them, but technically it's like this bulldog that always dies and is named Uga.
Yeah. And the bulldogs, because, they don't live that long. So they're always, this is what happens. They got to get a new one. But we did not have a cougar. Bulldog,
I think they're so cute, but if it, like, they're not supposed to be alive and it hurts them every day to be alive. And so I just don't feel ethical getting one.
Oh, I know. It's rough.
Okay. Amanda, I'm very excited to do my new segment with you because as you know, we discuss the news. Mm-hmm. That's our bread and butter.
It is.
So I have added a new segment to the podcast. Actually, by the time your episode comes out, it'll be many weeks. People will be like, why is she still calling this new? But what they have to understand is that I recorded a lot of episodes at once.
Yes.
Full behind the scene action there. But I have a new segment. It is called Teen News.
Aww.
And this is a segment where I regale you with something that is going on in Gen Z with teenagers. I maybe spotlight or highlight a teenager who's doing great work, etc. So today, I wanted to tell you about 18-year-old Kelly Danielpour. She is a recent high school graduate from Los Angeles who founded a company. I don't know if it's a company or if it's a website, but either way, it's called Vaxteen, and it is dedicated to helping teenagers and young adults whose parents don't want them vaccinated to get the jab. So it's a website that will help you. I went to the homepage. It's pretty no frills. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of just like combating vaccine misinformation, but it's specifically for teenagers and young people in general whose parents don't want them to get the jab.
And we can confirm this as we're talking, but if you're under 18, do your parents have to go with you? Like, is that, or
that's a great question for Vaxteen.
It's a great question.
That's a great, okay.
We should have Vaxteen on the Betches Up podcast.
Listen to this. First of all, yes, we need to get Kelly Danielpour on the Betches Up podcast. First, I go to vaccine.org. She got a .org.
Wow.
So she's
okay.
not
So this is
messing
legit.
around.
Yeah.
This young woman. Number one thing on the little top bar is consent laws by state.
Incredible.
So my guess is that you can go and state by state figure out that exact information.
That's a big undertaking for her to do that
Yes.
herself in her free time. That is queen shit.
Truly, while going to high school, which is actually, and we talk about this on the podcast, but like high school is an enormous undertaking that takes up an extraordinary amount of time and effort.
Double shifts, you're at work all day, and then you got to work more. I didn't like that part of it.
No, and like you don't realize at the time that like this is not normal. This is
exactly
not,
right.
Normally you would work traditionally from 9 to 5, and then what you do with your free time is your own. But instead, it's like you actually work from like 7 to 2, but also you stay.
You stay and run around
usually until 5 to run or do some other thing that you're required to do. And then you've got extra shit beyond that.
So much extra shit to do. You got to like found a club. You got to learn another language. You got to volunteer. I mean, yeah, I
got to do your homework. You got to prep for
college.
These tests. You got to do extra prep for the tests that you don't even get to prep for in regular school. So
I do not think that the vaccine founder should have to take any more standardized tests. I think she has shown her mettle and it's done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not sure, this article didn't say where she's going to college in the fall, but I hope full scholarship. You know, this kid's out here doing the damn work. So my question for you is, do you remember a time, a specific time when teen Amanda went out of her way to defy her parents?
No, I didn't really do that much. No, I wasn't super defiant. I mean, like on a daily basis, I was just like a little shit. But I would say that like, so, and this we'll get into, but being Jewish is like a personality trait of mine now. Like, you know this. But in high school, I attended a Lutheran youth group and a Lutheran church for the duration of high school. And part of it was because I was just like a little bit sad and annoyed that like my dad never bothered to like teach us how to be Jewish and like he didn't care. So I was like, you know what? Fuck off. I'm going to go be Lutheran and love Christ. So that was probably truly the most defiant thing I ever did was get baptized.
Well, that counts.
That's it.
Your defiance was that you got baptized as a Christian.
Yeah. And to this day, I feel really weird about it.
Did you get like baptized?
Not like southern, not like thrown
not
into
like
the lake
in the water,
anything.
but like you did get baptized when you were like a conscious individual.
Yes. And it was really like, basically because we want to go to this youth group, and my mom is Catholic. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to go to these services and my sister too, just because it was the only way to make friends. And so they were sort of like, if they want to go, my mom knew the first time we went, she was like, no, you can't go to communion. You can't go. And she was like, well, I don't want these kids to like go hang out with their friends on Sunday mornings and then like be the only Jews in there. Take them to communion. So it was like, you know what?
I guess we'll baptize them in the word of Christ.
We did it on like a Wednesday night. And they just like literally a sprinkle. Even the pastor was like very chill. He was like, look, he didn't make a big thing of it. We didn't have to do anything. I think a bat mitzvah would have been a lot more effort than just getting a little sprinkle.
Yeah, that's probably true. Though bat mitzvahs are a lot of fun. I've actually never been to one, which is why when I have kids, I'm going to really encourage them to get some Jewish friends. So that
well, as a corrective, obviously, because of all my trauma of becoming a Lutheran, my kids are going to shul.
Yeah. You gotta go the complete, but then maybe they'll defy you by getting baptized.
Oh no.
What if
then maybe if it's all true, then we'll all be in heaven together.
Yeah.
And I don't know where my dad and my grandpa and the rest of my family are going, but they got to figure it out.
Well, that's the age-old question. All right. So Amanda, we've talked about it a little bit, but let's get more into it. What flavor of high school is Apex High School? What is the vibe? Big, small? You said North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Let's get the lay of the land.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty big, but I think there were about like 1,000 people in every class, which was pretty big. So the school itself was about like 4,500 people. Where I lived in North Carolina, it's called
That is big.
Apex. Yeah, it's near a town called Cary, which is there's a lot of like relocated Yankees down there. Like for a while, they called Cary the confined area for relocated Yankees, and now there's even more. Like I'm sure you have listeners that are from there. Like it's a pretty like northerner place, so it's pretty diverse. Big high school. It wasn't super southern, but like I would say like 50% of it had that like Friday Night Lights feel, and then 50% was just like every other type of person. But there wasn't it was a very warm environment. Like there was not a lot of negativity. I'm sure people did get bullied and I just didn't see it, but like I didn't have a like there were no apex predators for sure. It was
That's
like
good though.
it had good energy. It had good energy. The only thing is that like our high school was like really people were always dying in car accidents like all the time. And so
Oh my
everything was
God.
always just very sad. Like every other month a new person died in, you know, a random car accident. And that was like what we were known for.
Oh my God.
It was dark.
That's horrible.
I don't drive.
That's legitimately so sad. Yeah, I think I talked about this on a recent episode that's yet to come out, but we had a big thing in my high school where a boy died in a drunk driving accident. And he was the only
one
person who died. Like
yeah.
that's the only person. I think there was one boy who had like cancer my freshman year who died.
Oh my
and
God.
Then there was, I know, it was really, really sad. And then there was this boy who like my sophomore or junior year got, I think it was like Halloween weekend too.
Ugh.
It was like a really bad, sad situation.
Our student body president who did the announcements every morning, he died in a zip line accident.
Oh my God. On a
zip line at church camp, of course. And that traumatized the whole school.
That's one of the number one places for a zip line.
I mean, exactly.
And for an unsafe zip line that's like rusty and hasn't been used in like a long time.
Yes, I think that's what happened. And then, yeah, nobody at Apex High School ever went on a zip line again. But it was a very friendly, positive, because I moved to North Carolina from Massachusetts when I was 12. So like when people ask me where I'm from, like I don't really know what to say because I don't feel right saying North Carolina just because I feel like that's deceptive. And I also don't like to say Boston or Massachusetts because people that are extremely from Massachusetts are like, where? Are you sure? You don't know where you're from, but you never been in this place? What the fuck? Get out of here. So
yeah, I have the same thing
yeah.
with Los Angeles and Virginia because I moved the same time, 12. We moved
really?
like right before 7th grade.
Weird identity crisis that stays with you.
It's tough. It's tough because I also feel weird saying that I'm from LA because like that's very loaded.
Right, that does not
it's
fit.
Just like loaded to tell someone you're from LA. It's also loaded to tell someone you're from Boston. Like it's just
exactly
like, it's too much.
And North Carolina, I feel like then they'll make assumptions about me and my family that are not correct, even though I got baptized.
Yeah, like it's just well, that's happened to me with LA too, where people are like, oh, really? Like, and then they start asking me about places in LA. And I'm like, no, I remember like how to get to my friend's house. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know
now
where
I
like
say
places are.
Yeah. Do you say New York now? Like now I've lived in New York longer than I lived anywhere else. So now even if a New Yorker's like, are you really from here? I'm like, look, I've spent the most time in my life here. This is my home. I'm sorry.
I will say Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
Or outside of DC.
Right.
Is usually where I say that I'm from because you know, I feel like the middle and high school years are where you really harden into your chrysalis really hardens. And so, and like, that's what I can speak to more. Right. So I'll say outside of DC, but I do also feel like if it was North Carolina, it is tough because North Carolina people are like, oh, so you're Southern. And it's tough to be like, well, actually not really at all. Like,
yeah, totally. Right.
That's
exactly.
not my culture.
But, yeah. But before we moved, I was like, so we lived in Massachusetts up until 6th grade. And I was like the target of all the bullies. Like I was like one of a couple girls that everybody was really mean to. Like we were kind of like, there's like 3 girls that like we were all fat, which is like a lot of kids are fat. It's fine.
I was gonna say like
retrospect, I was not fat.
Brought them to you, and it's like it's always such a sad answer. It's like just, I was kind of fat. Like,
yeah, just a chubby kid. I just wasn't skinny. And so then when we moved, and I think, oh my God, I'm excited to talk about this because I've heard you say the same thing. We moved and I just acted. I was like, yeah, I was cool. I was cool before. So I inhabited a cool person and I became a cool person.
Wow. So you stuck the landing because I tried to be like, yeah, I'm from LA and I'm like cool and from LA. And everyone was like, Okay. You're not giving us that at all with your energy.
Yeah.
So, okay. Where did teen Amanda fit socially at Apex? Who was your crew? Where did you draw most of your friends from?
I feel like I was pretty split. There weren't hard groups at my high school. And if there were, it was like you were cool the more you were able to move through them. The most popular girl was also the smartest girl and the nicest girl. And like was always like the homecoming queen was also always an AP calculus. And like
Yeah.
it was if you were an athlete who also like the athletes like would date people for musical theater, and that was like cool.
Wow.
Like yeah. I'm sure there were people that
unheard of at other schools.
Unheard of. And of course it was like the coolest football player dates the coolest musical theater person. But I think because the groups didn't play too much of a role, I just had a lot of individual best friends who I spent most of my time with. Like I had like 3 or 4 best friends, and we didn't always hang out in a group, but I always just like hung out with them. I was on the student newspaper and I did a lot of that. And I had my church friends.
And then, yeah.
Yes,
And
I
then
had my very best friend of all time who I met right when I moved to North Carolina. Her name was Barbara Adams. Still is. She's alive now. She's Barbara Adams Croack.
Her name continues to be Barbara.
Yes. And she's the one that we were instantly best friends. And she's the one that brought me to her church. And I was like, these people are really nice. And also I was like pretty, I was like a good kid. I didn't really want to get into any trouble or have any interest in that. So it was like kind of hard to make. It was kind of like I said, like I had various best friends, but I didn't have a group. And I liked having like a group in a community. And I was like, these kids are nice. It was a very open church. Lutherans are like, as long as you can do anything, you can do the worst shit. But if on your dying bed, you're like, if please Jesus save me, whatever. So they're not worried about anything. I never heard a hateful thing. Like it was very, very chill. So yeah, I think I just mainly had like close individual friends. I was cool in middle school. And then when we got to high school, where things sort of shake out, like sports wise, I didn't participate in sports. So I didn't really have access to like the real popular crowd. But yeah, I just had like very, very close friendships that were all very different and served different purposes.
Describing it as a lack of access. Like, it was just, like that was really the main thing.
The access point being any athletic ability whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, okay. You say you're doing student newspaper. Is that kind of like the main thing? Like what takes up the most space of in your brain space at this time?
Like emo little boy bands. 100,000%.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
We would go every weekend, drive all around the state with my friend Jessica Moore, who was very fit and pretty, and I would use her, and we would like to get access to the bands.
I want to get an access point.
Yes. And then hang out with the bands. And yeah, I loved that. I was just listening.
So these were like actual local teen boy bands.
No, we would just go to like, like all of the people that were doing it that time. We go to all the shows. I can't remember what the venue in Raleigh was called. I think it's not called the Brewery, but it's called something like that. And yeah, we would go all over the place.
And who were the faves?
Well, so we repeatedly went to, do you remember Cute is What We Aim For?
Of course. I remember Cute is What We Aim For.
So they were our main ones because they loved my friend. And so like the first time we went, they were like, hey, you guys want to like come on the bus? And so we did. And like nothing weird happens at all, actually. I feel like that's really not how that story ends.
That's always the beginning of a story where it's like, okay, what's gonna happen?
Don't worry, no need for a trigger warning here. But and yeah, like literally did nothing. Like just sat around and look at their like flip phones or something, but we thought it was the coolest thing. And so of course, whenever they were around, we would go there, and then the manager would recognize us, and like we did nothing. We didn't even, I think one time they offered us weed, but I was driving. So it served no purpose. It was like going to a zoo. It was just like, it was bizarre, but I loved it.
Cute is What We Aim For.
I was like a star fucker who just wanted to like be around them.
Yeah, like star observer, like
right. I can't remember any other bands by name, but all the types that were like out and about. Yeah.
Now, did you ever do a Warped tour?
Yeah, of course.
Which one where did you go? When did you go?
Definitely, I think it was Wilmington, North Carolina. It was, I can't remember who was there. I can't remember anything, but I know I was like, yeah, obsessed with the scene. Obsessed.
Yeah, I went in 2003, Meriwether Post Pavilion.
Oh.
And I mean, everybody was there, but the thing that I remember the most was Taking Back Sunday, because that's when I got really sick, and I was like, Mom, you have to come pick me up.
That's who I'm thinking. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh no.
It was too, I had never like,
Yes,
I was
me
like
too.
13
It was weird.
and it was a lot. It was
It was a lot.
hot. There was a lot going on. The real mosh pits were happening. I wasn't ready.
Exactly. I had been used to going to like, I mean, maybe like 150 person capacity places, but it was too hot. There were actual grown-ups. There was drugs and alcohol.
Right.
It was
And
a lot.
also like alarming large punk men who are scary
Mhm.
and punching each other in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Did you? Yeah, I
you're
definitely
like,
do have memories of being in a
oh,
mosh pit.
this thing that I like idolize in my mind, that this
Right.
scene is actually like, here it is happening in front of me, and I'm actually a 110-pound 13-year-old. It's not good.
Right. Right. Yeah. And then I would write emo songs too. I never showed any of them, but I still repeated them to myself so often and I don't play any instruments. I would just write them and sing the melodies to myself and fantasize about maybe being like the next Haley Williams. I also can't sing. I just loved the scene. I loved it.
Oh God. I mean, it was the moment. I feel.
It's how I spent
And
most of my time for sure.
it's so funny because I still have this like pang, like when I talk about like emo music or like the music from the time, the teenager in me will be like, oh my God, what if I don't say the right bands and Amanda thinks I'm a poseur?
I really couldn't even come up with them until you reminded me. Taking Back Sunday.
I know,
It was like there
so
was always
funny.
a new one du jour. The Motion City soundtrack, obviously.
Oh, Motion City soundtrack. I loved so much. And then actually Taylor Guerin on this show said that she met the guy and he said something crazy racist to her.
Isn't
so that's
he
really
not
unfortunate.
Isn't he non-white? I don't know. That's really unfortunate.
See,
I mean,
this
I guess
is the thing
non-white
that
people
always
can
gets
say.
me is that I am a bad, like, I'm a bad fan. So like I would like listen to all the music, but then not actually like look them up or like know who like what the lead singer looks like. So I'd have a band that I would listen to every single day, like Motion City soundtrack. I fucking loved.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you who any
no, not at all. I
saw a member of Motion City soundtrack walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing.
Wouldn't know a thing. I'm sorry to this man. Sorry.
I
had an Under Oath hoodie at one point. I have a mezuzah on my door. I am Jewish. Clearly you can tell this is a lifelong conflict. If you don't know, Under Oath was a Christian screamo. Christian screamo. Yeah. I had a phase with that. I think that was in my the scene and emo stuff. Like I was happy, but then I guess it was when I hit more of a darker patch that I got more into the Under Oath. And like the more, what band was Skrillex in? That band?
I don't
remember.
See, these are things that I'm bad. I am
from first to last.
Right. Oh my God.
They were a little scary.
Like names that I would get like a compilation CD that would be like Warped Tour 2007 compilation CD. And like, I would like listen to all of these bands on that CD.
Yes. Yeah.
The screamiest that I really got was Taking Back Sunday.
For sure.
I never really got into screaming too much. But there is always a risk that you run with some of these bands to realizing later that they're Christian.
Exactly. Because you can't hear what they're screaming. You don't know that they're saying like, Jesus, take the wheel.
Exactly. That's the exact thing. And a lot of Christian music, you know,
it's great. It sounds great.
That's actually not what I was going to say, Amanda.
Okay.
You just revealed yourself. What I was going to say is that a lot of Christian music, they could be talking about a romantic relationship where they could be talking about Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Exactly.
And so I got tricked. There's a band called MXPX and they are Christian.
Yeah.
They are Christian. And I got tricked by them and tried to tell a cute like punk boy he was like, what's your favorite band? And I said MXPX because they had a song that went, we ain't got no place to go, so let's go to the punk rock show. And like I was like, okay, that I like that. And then this cute boy who was Scottish and emo and in my middle school was like, aren't they Christian? And I was floored by this. And then it totally stopped the momentum.
And that trauma stayed with you. You don't want to get a band name wrong.
So now I always check if the band is Christian.
That's an excellent. I mean, you have to. It sounds like these days, it's like whenever a man dies, a famous man dies, you got to check, like, you got to check, did they touch a lady? Are they Christian?
Yeah, can I be
Are
sad
they
about this,
Republican?
or did he do immeasurable harm to someone? Oh God, it's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna play an either or game with you. We're gonna round out the picture of teen Amanda here. We talked about it a little bit because you said that you never would defy your parents. So troublemaker or good kid?
I was a good kid. I didn't make any trouble.
Never got in trouble for.
The thing I got in trouble about was like, I never did my homework and I got bad grades, which is probably surprising to people, but I just like, I was too involved with, I would rather be like stalking, you know, emo guys on MySpace. So I just never, or writing on my live journal. I never did my homework. So and my
I was a
parents would
live
just
journal
freak
girl
out.
over Zanga as well.
Oh, of course. Hot girls are on live journal.
That's interesting because I would have, one of the questions is good student, bad student. So you were
Bad
not
student.
grade motivated.
What's so odd is that like I saw myself as like I was friends with all of the really smart people, and I saw myself as I think I present as like
I present as smart.
I present as smart. I present as like a person that follows the rules and would never not do her homework. But I mean, I think everybody's kind of undiagnosed ADD, but I just like I wasn't interesting enough to me. My teachers weren't nice to me. I was in all of the like, again, because I present as smart, like I was in all honors classes and all AP classes, of course, but like I got C's in math my whole high school career.
Oh, same. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I could never crack a C in math.
No.
Are you kidding? And then
I'd love to hear it.
Oh my God. I was horrible. I mean, well, my mom, her number one joke, Deb's big joke that she loves, is she goes, yeah, I pay, because she's talking, because I had to get a tutor in algebra.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I paid $2,000 for this one to get a C in math.
Totally. I was like,
to
this day,
I'm like, that's really funny, Mom.
I don't know if I said this on the sup or if I said it before we started one day, but like I do not remember my actual math SAT because I lied about it for so long. And I got all the tutoring. I got all of it. I cried. There's a TikTok going around now that's like, you can't hurt me. Like if you can't yell at me. Like I did math homework with my dad. Like,
yeah, no.
It was mostly the math that was very demotivating. But yeah, I just like, I was not motivated, but I really wanted to go to like an amazing school and like have an amazing career. I just like didn't really connect that meant I had to like get good grades. I maintain the reason my GPA was not good is because we were on a 7-point grading scale. So if you got a 92 in a class, you got a B.
Wait, Amanda.
You too?
My high school did this.
This is why we got C's wrong. This is wrong.
This is something that needs to be changed and spoken about because
not
my
normal,
school
right?
did the same shit.
And that's not common. That's not even.
No.
I remember
right.
writing such long
for
letters.
A 90 to be a B plus. Get the
no,
hell
not
out
when
of here.
other people who are applying from other schools, like, and the schools, it's like, I'd call them and be like, I'm on a 10-point or on a 7-point grading scale. And they'd be like, well, we take all of that into consideration, but there's no way
That's
that
what
they can.
Say.
There's no
That's
way
what
that
they
they
always
can.
say. They're like, no, the school knows. This is what my school would always say. Yeah. Your college is no Oakton. What are you fucking talking about? My college doesn't know. Oh, Oakton High School. This is how like weird, because Virginia, like their public schools are really quote unquote good, and like especially in my area is known for being like really good public schools. Except for the ones that they are purposefully like not desegregated.
Right.
But except for like because it's like that because of like really shady shit.
It's good, but they're
anyway.
Yeah,
they would be like, any school is gonna know Oakton, and they're gonna know that a 91 is a B plus here, and it's like, no, babe. No, darling.
I think that's why I didn't, because I went to a school in North Carolina that's a really good school. I went to Elon University for a year, but it was just not what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And then transferred to a different school. No offense, Elon. But I always wanted to go to Columbia after I got really obsessed with Sex and the City in high school. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want that life. So I got really obsessed with going to Columbia. Obviously did not get in because I had C's, got C's in math. You can't really go to Columbia, turns out, if you get C's in math. But I worked really hard once I got to college, and then went through what some people like to call the side door, which is Barnard College for Women, which is a part of
yes,
Columbia
yes,
University.
Right. Of course. I was like, I know where Amanda went to school. You're a Barnard girl.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so I had a similar thing to you where like literally all the things we had a very similar
apparently
situation.
Jesus.
But all my friends were like super duper smart, like straight A kids. Like I have a friend who like he like did grad school at Harvard, and they gave him an award that like they only give out if like someone who's worthy like appears. It's like a fucking sort of award. Like they don't give it out unless you're so smart. Whatever. I don't even understand. I don't even understand how this award works.
Award picks you.
Yeah, exactly. The award presents itself to you one day and you have to fight it, and then like you can get it. But or you have to like battle wits or play it in chess or something. Anyway, my friends were like really smart, and I was like, I mean, my freshman year I was really depressed, so I was like getting really bad grades.
Yeah.
And then I evened it out, and I would do well in like English and history. Like I could pull an A or a B in English and history, but my science and math, it was never happening.
No, never.
Especially in chemistry, which is just science and math. And the math is letters.
No. And now math is different. They changed it. They don't even do the math we did.
No, absolutely not. Now it's, as far as my understanding, when I was working at an after school program, it's tree based.
Yes. Yeah. It's
and
completely
tree. And
yeah.
I
like
they don't
it
even
better.
do the box that we learned.
No.
The rectangular box.
No. They like don't. Yeah. It's fucking nuts.
You show Gen Z the box.
They have no idea. But theirs is much more practical because like it makes you better. I used to I babysat in the city for like 10 years. I only stopped because the pandemic happened and then the kids grew up. So, but I helped them with their math, and it's much easier anyway for like mental math. I still use it.
Yeah, that's the only math I've been told as well. Because my mental math ability is 0.
Right.
Like to divide in my head, I'm trying to make the box. I'm gonna make the box like in my mind.
Your mind? Forget it. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening.
The tears you shed for no reason.
Okay, well, next question's prep your emo. We know.
Yeah.
We know the answer to that one. Okay, here's a new one that I've added it needs like a preface, which is it's horny or scared of sex. And what I mean by that is that I know that all teenagers are both horny and scared of sex, but which one won? Like, were you more scared of sex than horny, or more horny than scared of sex?
It's really hard to answer that question when you were never presented with an opportunity to have sex. Like but I definitely was very scared for sure. I didn't have sex in high school. I wasn't looking for sex in high school. I think I definitely, because I didn't drink or anything. And I had the emo connection. So I just decided that I was straight edge and that I was gonna wait until marriage.
X's on the hands?
I would put an X on my hands. I did do that occasionally in my under oath sweatshirt. I don't know what I was going for.
You know what? If I had seen Tina Amanda walking down the street, I would have said respect. We would have given each other a knowing nod.
Oh, absolutely. Because I would have been like, damn, she's brave enough to do her bangs like that. I don't think I could do it.
We committed to slightly different aesthetics, but yeah, I went all in on the hair. I was but that's because I was very into being a scene kid. Yes. Which had more of a colorful, poppy, feminine aesthetic. Yeah, I would say.
No, I was very horny, but definitely scared of sex. Terrified.
Were there any boyfriends or boys or anything, or were you just like?
No. I have this, and actually, like looking through older pictures is sort of healing because I had this idea of myself in high school as like disgusting.
Well, let's pull up a photo right now to dispel this myth at this exact moment, because there's definitely not.
They all look the same. They all look the same. As I said,
let's do the second photo here, Paul. Perfect. The one with her. I like this red shirt. I think that it's. I think that it makes.
Yes.
It rounds out the emo perspective. So, in this photo, pin straight hair.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. I'm the girl above that, like girl.
Oh my God. Wait, I thought this girl on the left was you.
No, that's Barbara.
Ha!
That's very
That's
flattering.
crazy. You look really different in your teen photos, I think.
Well, I mean, this is why it was hard for me to actually even find photos, because we have come so far in terms of like fat phobia and what all of that means. So like at the time in high school, I was probably 60 pounds heavier than I am now. And I'm not a super thin adult. So like I was noticeably like, it was all my parents talked about. It was all I thought about. And I also had very bad skin. And I remember one time, did you read that Bobbi Brown makeup book?
No, but I'm like aware.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, there was I was very into it. It's kind of like those American Girl books where like everybody had them and they really made an impact. I remember there was one sentence in one of them that was like, they were trying to say like, take care of your skin and like exercise like as a good habit. But there was a line in there that said, because nobody likes a chubby girl with acne. And that to this day, I think about. I know. Can you believe that? I want to find it.
Oh, fuck. That's bad. So bad.
So bad. And so I was like, shit. So that's why, like, in this picture, I'm literally hiding behind everybody else.
I'm like, oh my God, that's making me so sad, because now you can see that you're like hiding behind all of your friends, you know.
Every picture I looked at, I'm just like hiding my entire body.
You are making the classic mouth to the side, eyes up to the side, MySpace 2003 facial
That's
expression.
what I hoped you would notice. Yeah.
That's an important, that facial expression never, you know, it made the rounds. It was really the go-to.
But I also picked this one because that's how severe I went with my bangs, my side bangs.
So you did a really, I'm looking, this is a deep side bang.
Yeah, I didn't change the color of my hair, but I did do a side bang. Because for me, I think I wanted to be like the emo guys, like normal blonde, blue-eyed girlfriend, like non-scene. That's what I was going for.
Oh, I just interesting.
Seduce somebody and become like a roadie girlfriend.
Interesting. So you were like, I'm not going to go that hard into it because I want to be like I want to be his refuge from this, from all of that.
Precisely. Yes.
So, okay. I'm asking you this because I find that all skin products from the early 2000s are absolutely horrific. What is Teen Amanda putting on her face?
Oh my God. The gnarliest shit. Definitely like a ton of Stridex, a ton of what's it called? Proactive. Like I probably still have a room
I was going to say, were you did
yeah.
Proactive get you?
Yeah, and it definitely got me. Nothing works. I think the only thing that actually does work is like getting older. I also rode horses a lot and never washed my face, so I think that was it. But yeah, I was so insecure. And like I remember my grandma had Alzheimer's at the time, so she would just be like, "What's wrong with your face?" Like she didn't mean to be a bitch,
but it's also like, Grandma, you're kind of being a bitch,
right? Right. But then everyone in my family would be like, "Oh God," and yeah, like really, I mean, I still have scars from it that I don't think about that much, but it's like, God, being a fat teen with acne really. It shouldn't affect the rest of your life, but it really stays with you.
Yeah, I mean,
I credit most of my
these are like we were saying, these are the years that you like harden into this thing. And if you know you're dealing with all of these insecurities and all of this tough stuff, and especially like tough stuff that is like out in the open, like it's not hideable.
Right. You don't know how to do makeup. And like I said, like in this picture, none of the pictures I send you, like I don't look disgusting. I once referred to myself,
you look like a cute little girl.
Yeah, I once referred to myself like in front of my dad, who was hard on me about my weight. I was like, well, because I was disgusting in high school. And he was like, that is a terrible thing to say about yourself. Why would you say that? And I was like, oh, I thought we all knew that. I thought that's what we all knew. But no.
Yeah, like I thought we had all felt that way. But I mean, those narratives are so hard to upend. Were you a big unrequited crush person? Like, did you have boys that you loved from afar?
I feel, yeah, for sure. I had very intense crushes. Most of them were guys in bands that would never know me. I remember we also once met, I don't want to dead name them. They went by Teddy Geiger at the time. I'm not sure if they still do.
It's fine. We can
but I was obsessed with them. Yeah, I was obsessed with them. Yeah, they still go by Teddy. I was obsessed with them. And I made them a mixtape and we got in front of their tour bus and I gave it to them. And yeah, was I started sobbing. And I remember Barbara, my best friend, was laughing hysterically just because I was sobbing that I had given them this mixtape.
This
So
beautiful.
I got insane crushes, at least, like insane. They consumed me. And they usually were men that I would never, or people that I would never meet.
So you would go more the route of like, he's not even a guy that's in your life. Like
He
this
can't
is
even
this
refuse
full
me. Yeah.
fantasy crush level.
Yes.
Not
exactly.
like a boy who you would maybe like see around.
I did have an ongoing crush. Somebody, his name was Joey Fleming. He was the most like popular guy. And I always, well, not one of them, it was one of the most popular guys, such a cutie. He's now married, I think, to one of my closest friends from middle school. A lot of people just dated each other for a while in like musical chairs, turned 30 and then got married. And we were always next to each other because his last name was Fleming. My last name's Duberman. And we were just like, all of my crushes, like always, like we were always like friendly. And then I definitely just took that. I was like, well, any dude that was nice to me, I developed a heartbreaking crush on.
There was like, it's so funny. Like literally everything was romantic to me when I was a young girl, but like there was always something so romantic to me to being like, we always sit next to each other because we're the last name. Right. We have the same last name. Like,
isn't that a nice story? Yeah.
There was a boy, and I'll put his whole name out there. Yeah. Lucas Mitchell, who I believe I've talked about on the podcast before, but because there was no one between us, me and Lucas Mitchell. And I thought he was so cute. And one time for like a quarter, the way that the chairs were arranged, my teacher there were like 2 chairs in the back that were alone. Everyone else sat in like rows and you had like 2 people on either side of you. But then there was this one solo island of 2 chairs. And for one beautiful quarter, it was me and Lucas Mitchell.
Oh,
and I was.
What went through your body the day that happened? Just pure joy?
I mean, I was floored. I was floored by my good fortune. I was at a Christian school at this point, so I'm sure that I threw one up for Jesus. I said, I've been asking for this. And literally every day I would just sit there and be like, this boy who, number one, reeked of Axe body spray. And I loved it. He had the like hard flip.
Oh God. Yeah.
Hair.
Yeah.
In the front.
Yeah.
Joey, I remember one time I drew a heart on his paper before he could turn it in, and he didn't see.
Oh, but that was risk. That was bold.
I drew a heart on his paper and I was like, maybe he'll see it and know that it was from me, but
what if he had?
Or if he did, it did not make an impression on him anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, and then we like moved and she did. I remember like, I also vividly remember coming to school the day that she was like, it's second quarter, so we're changing up the seats. And like, we were moved and she didn't do it by name anymore. And Lucas was gone. He was far away.
I know. And you tell yourself like, he's as upset about it as I am, but then they move on.
Absolutely not. There is no way that person remembers my name. Yeah. There's no way.
Oh,
there's no way, because it was also 5th grade. So this is like a 5th grade boy, so he's like, he's not in the headspace yet.
Yeah. God, isn't it crazy? It's like, I like at that time, he felt like a man.
At that time, I was like, this is a grown man.
Yeah.
And we are ready for a serious relationship. And actually, like, I always think back, which is what I think is so funny about the show Pen 15, to show to actually have these like kids because it's such a high level of emotion. And then you look and it's like this truly tiny boy. Yeah,
that's why it's so funny.
It's so much. Okay. Did you have a job? Yes or no? When you were in high school?
I was a bus boy at the local, like the only nice restaurant in town for a while. And I actually like doing that because you made a lot more money than being a hostess, but they moved me because I was always chatting with my hostess friends. So I was a hostess and a busboy for about a year. So I have enough. I have enough service of that to like know that people are terrible.
Yes. People would get, that's another thing looking back, like, adults who would get mad at me.
We were little children.
I would think like, at the time, I would think like, well, I'm an adult and you're an adult and we're yelling at each other. And it's like, no, babe, this person's actually crazy. They're way
Right.
far out of line. Like
Completely. Yeah.
screaming at a 16-year-old hostess at a dive bar that lets you smoke inside. Like that person's not okay.
Oh God.
And I would think like, this is just life as an adult. And it's like, no.
Yeah, no, I did that. And then I was very, very, very fortunate in that my parents were like, if you feel like you just need to do homework, then do that. But like I said, I didn't really care. I was like, I don't need A's, so I'll get a gig.
Very practical. Yeah. There's
Mhm.
like, it's very funny. Like there is a level of like practicality kind of to all of this
Yeah.
stuff that you've been saying. Okay. Final either or question. Ryan or Seth?
Seth. Does anyone say
Of course,
Ryan?
Of course. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, why do we even ask? But
Yeah.
I have not.
Can see it both. I mean, it presented, if Ryan sat next to me in math class, I would be obsessed with him. But given the choice,
Yeah,
absolutely
but Seth is what I was pursuing at that time.
Yeah, he would talk
sure.
me talk some sense into my Christ pursuing.
That's
Teenager.
true. That's true. And you know what? Seth is another Jewish
noted
Christian
pop culture.
king.
Right.
Chris
Yeah.
We
called ourselves
also.
a cashew. Yeah, we were cashews.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, let's finish. Let's round out here. Let's look at the other two photos you sent. I think we have one from a school dance.
Oh yes, that's the prom picture.
Okay, so did you go with anyone to prom? Did anyone?
I did not.
Your date?
No, I did not go to prom. The other one's the prom picture, but I did not go to prom. I just went to dinner before. Again, hidden behind everybody else.
Hidden in the back.
Yeah.
And you didn't go. Wow.
This was, I never went to prom. My poor mother, none of her kids went to prom. None of us are married yet. She's never been able to like take a picture with us looking nice, but no, because I didn't want to I never wanted to like know how big I was. And so I was like, I'm not going to even find, I would rather not know than buy a dress for prom.
And get your dress.
Yeah. Isn't that sad?
Yeah,
but I went and I got my hair done and I went to dinner with my friends. This is clearly like a Carrabba's or a Olive Garden. There's a digital camera and a disposable camera on the table.
Yeah, classic pre-prom looks. I mean, your friends are all representing some very clear prom looks, especially your friend who has the updo, and then is this your friend from the red photo too? Yeah.
Yes, that's
red
Barbara,
is her signature.
BFF. Yeah, totally. And then the next year, neither Barbara nor I went to prom. We went instead to Golden Corral, which is, do you know what Golden Corral is?
I do, but you should explain what Golden Corral is for the listener.
Yeah. Golden Corral is, you pay $11 or something and it's an all you can eat buffet of medium quality food, medium to poor quality food, but in lots of abundance. So like, it's great if you have a family with a lot of kids. It's a really cheap way to like get a big meal. But I mean, it's like not really any wonder I had a weight problem. One time I skipped math class to go to Macaroni Grill by myself to just like go there.
I mean, again, I say this is a girl who's living her damn life.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
In the middle of the day, you want some Macaroni Grill? Go.
I was like, I don't want to cry in math today. I don't even sit next to Joey anymore. There's no point. But yeah, I mean, I guess in retrospect, I don't really miss having a prom experience. Like I said, like I didn't have any boyfriends. I was like, what's the point of going? If obviously these gals, they all went alone and they had a great time, but I just was so insecure about, I had so much body dysmorphia. I was like, I don't want to know my size. Like, that's why I was always sitting behind people. It's very sad to think about in retrospect. I feel very bad for young Amanda that she was so,
I know
the worst thing she could ever discover about herself was that like, she was as big as she feared, which was like, there are much more fearful things in life. Thank God I know,
but it's, and hope it does seem like this kind of stuff is changing and there are like so many more like body positive like role models. But if we're talking like back at this time, I mean,
we had it rough.
You had to be stick thin, like straight up and down, thigh gap, tiny arm, like it.
And that's what the hot emo girls, that was like the like Venn diagram between like the hot emo girls and like eating disorder live journal was like a circle. So
oh
like,
my God.
yeah.
The amount of times that I would accidentally end up in eating disorder content territory just because like you click on a picture of whatever.
Nicole Richie and then suddenly they're telling you like how to not eat for 3 days. I think somebody needs to
scary.
do.
Yeah, like pro Anna stuff on live journal. I remember seeing a lot, which for anyone who doesn't know, that's pro anorexia content. And you're right that like it wasn't better in the emo scene. Like Avril Lavigne, teeny tiny, like any girl that was in that scene too is like a little. Like
that was kind of the look.
She's got tuberculosis. She's going to
right.
to
her knees were always sort of like cocked inwards and like wearing compression socks and like
the perfect emo girl looks like a broken doll, just like just kind of flopped over.
Why was everybody doing like the Thriller dance in their pictures?
I don't know. And just I'll watch stuff from back then and like I'm rewatching Friends, which is a little earlier in time. Jennifer Aniston's arm is the tiniest little arm.
It's crazy. There are some episodes where Monica is
I can't stop looking at it in episodes. I'm like, the work, it doesn't make sense to me to have these. I call it like a wisp of wheat arm.
Oh yeah, right.
Like,
and the fingers are just sort of floating about, right?
It's scaring me. I think obviously, I'm sure that there is plenty of body image issues plaguing the young teens today, but I do think that it's at least, I don't think that a book today would be printed with the line, "No one likes a chubby girl with acne."
Exactly.
I don't think that would be put in a book today.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's great that teens are like asking, like teens now are probably asking their moms for like long, like acrylic nails because they look cool, rather than like I was asking my mom for like slim fast and like liposuction, and because I was like, I simply have to look skeletal. I think that if somebody hasn't already done this, I think somebody needs to do like a deep dive on the 2000s and what it did to us.
I mean, I feel like it's happening piecemeal with like the Free Britney stuff.
And you do it a lot on this podcast, which is why I love listening to this, because you get into those like cultural conversations that you don't, you haven't thought about for a while. Yeah.
It did. And like to, you know, when I think back at the body that I thought I needed to have, it is no wonder that so many people came out of that with a really crazy feeling.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And then once you have that body and you are Britney Spears, they lock you away and throw away the key and they say, fuck you. You were too sexy. Now it's too much and you have, your body's too good and we have to put you in a cage. So, I mean, there's no winning for a teen girl. There's no, and
the Olsens are still that skinny. They were just made that skinny.
Yeah. I mean, that was such a crazy thing too. When the Olsens, but who had an eating disorder?
I think Mary Kate did. Mary Kate did have, that's right. Mary Kate did have an eating disorder. So she was not naturally slim. Yeah. She was scary thin for a while.
There were like there are some people from that time where it is actually alarming.
Well, the idea was like, I was like, I don't just have to lose weight. I have to be a size 0, a non-existent size.
0.
I cannot take up space.
Trying on dresses for prom and not my friend Chelsea was a size 2 and I was not a size 2. I was like a size, I mean, and I was only like a size up from that. Definitely not a size 2 now, but at that time I was like a size 4 and it impacted me.
Really?
Like I remember feeling,
wow.
I remember feeling embarrassed in the dressing room because I had grabbed a 2 and it didn't fit. And I had to say like that I had to size up, and I like, the memory is vivid.
Isn't that wild?
Of being like, and that is like between a size 2 and a size 4. Like that is not like, it's crazy because ultimately you wanted to be a size 0 and you wanted to be a broken doll.
Right.
Crazy. Okay, let's look at this one last photo here. Again, Amanda is behind.
Yes.
And this, I need to understand what's going on with your collar here.
So yeah, I need you too. I wore just a ton of layers. I don't know if that, I always thought that collars would make me look thinner for some reason. Like I didn't want to expose my neck. I don't know what's going on here. I just loved layers. It felt more, the more I could cover.
I like this look. This look is actually
no, I always wore a V-neck sweater with a Oxford underneath in high school.
This I really like, and it's very I just watched the opening ceremonies this morning. It's very Team USA.
It's very Team USA.
Like very Ralph Lauren, very styled.
The interesting thing about this picture when I saw it this morning is that I look the highest I've ever been. And I didn't touch a single drug or alcohol in high school. This was again at church camp.
The guy in the back, his glasses do say church camp.
They do say church camp.
That's very true.
Completely.
So when did you drink for the first time, smoke weed, any of that stuff?
I think I had like one screwdriver in high school. And
Great choice.
Yeah, it was delicious. And I don't think I got drunk or I didn't notice anything. So I didn't really start drinking until college, but I never got drunk in college. I didn't get drunk until I went and studied abroad in Germany, because I also didn't want to break the rules. I was like genuinely scared. But when I went to study abroad in Germany when I was 20, it was not against the rules to drink. So I threw up like 3 times a week.
She went ham.
Yeah.
You know, I have found in doing this show that a lot of kids who didn't drink, they needed that feeling of like the hard break of like, I'm out of high school now, or like I'm in fucking Germany. Like, something.
Yeah.
They need something to say, like, it makes sense to me to change now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Just drank goblets of red wine for 6 months.
And what about weed? Did that just come in college as well?
That just came in college as well. Yeah. And I never knew how to get it or how to because I was always the one driving in high school, because I was the one bringing my hot friends to concerts. So I never drank or smoked weed. I literally laundered them to get to the cute guys. Like, she knew it. I think it kind of sounded like I was trafficking her, but she was fine with it.
You know what? You drove her. She wanted to be at the concert. So.
Yeah. We had a great time.
Yeah. I think it was a mutually beneficial situation that you guys had going on.
We had fun time.
Okay. Next question. And this begins sort of our rounding out to the end here. Do you remember any big rumors, scandals, happenings, pieces of gossip from your high school or middle school? This can be while you were there or not there.
I mean, this is sad, but like I said, people would die a lot with such frequency that it was kind of like, are all these kids really getting in car accidents? So whenever anybody died, there would always just be a lot of mumbling about what really happened, which was really sad, because it really was just, teens aren't always the best drivers, or things happen, or where I lived, there was a lot of deer, but there was always that's the only thing I can think of was I don't have, I listened to the one what Millie said, where there was somebody got 10 abortions. I don't have anything like that. That made me laugh so hard.
I mean, sometimes it's great. People have come in here with the same, where they're like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times they're like, there was revenge porn. That's the number one.
There definitely was one where it was if it wasn't even if a specific couple had sex, it was specifically they had done it doggy style.
That's a great rumor.
Not even anal, or maybe I misunderstood the joke. Maybe the rumor was that it was anal. I think maybe the rumor was rumor is they did it from behind, or took it from the back. And I don't know what that meant. I probably meant that was just one of the most
popular sex positions that exist.
Right. It was a big rumor that maybe they did it doggy style. Yeah.
This is something we actually, the episode that I just recorded before you, we were also talking about, which is rumors being stuck in how you understood them at the time.
Yeah.
So maybe the rumor was that they did anal, but as far as Tina Amanda recorded it
regular
in time,
sex,
it was that they did doggy style.
Yeah.
Which is only in high school would that be of note, a rumor, something to even say about anyone.
Right, exactly. Imagine just starting a rumor, trying to shame somebody by being I heard you did it doggy style. It's really dysfunctional.
I do remember that one time my friend was like told us that she was on top, and that was very like we were like. And also I remember that the senior that she was having sex with said to her, hop on top, and we all thought that was really
that's
funny.
Sexy. Yeah.
And we would all say hop on top. And
Oh my God,
it was really
hilarious.
really funny that this senior she had sex with in an abandoned house said hop on top.
That is really funny at the time. That would be a rumor. Like, did you hear what he said?
Yeah, we always thought it reminded us of Hop on Pop, the Dr. Seuss. So I can always remember my friend saying hop on pop, hop on top. It was, we were probably 16, and this was definitely a week's worth of hop on top was really big.
Would you say it to her like in front of other people and as like a joke, and maybe other people would be like, ooh, what's that mean? Or just it was an inside joke?
I think that she was cool with hop on top because she brought hop on top to us.
She brought it into your life. Yeah.
Yeah. She told us about hop on top and presented it to us as funny. So I think my understanding is that she also found hop on top to be funny.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. Now we've gotten to the end of the podcast. I'm interested to hear your answer to this. And you're a listener, so I know you know, but if you could talk to teen Amanda today, what would you tell her?
I'm sure everybody says the same thing, which is just like, you're doing fine. Like, I would probably tell her, I guess I would tell her, like, truthfully, when I look at my life, it like is exactly, I wouldn't call myself a super happy, contented person, but when I look at my life, it is exactly what that Amanda wanted and hoped for herself. So I guess I would just be like, you're gonna get there. Like, you don't need to be so devastated that you are not a size 0. That's not gonna matter. Like, that's not actually what it takes to, because when I would envision this point in my life, like being like in New York City, I even am like, I'm like a fucking verified on Instagram. I host a podcast. People know, like, I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing.
You have a cool job where you get to
I get to fuck around on the internet talking about my favorite thing and being funny about it all the time. Like, that's all I ever wanted. But I guess I thought when I was younger that looking a certain way was like involved in that. Like, you had to look like Carrie Bradshaw to be like Carrie Bradshaw. So I would probably tell her like what my dad recently told me, which that I wasn't disgusting. I would tell her never to pick up that fucking stupid Bobby Brown book.
Keep that Bobby Brown book away.
Right. Yeah. And I would have told her to go to prom, get a plus size prom dress. Like,
that
was the thing.
Out.
Right. Now I'm glad there's more like, get whatever fucking dress fits, take a picture with your mom, go to prom. It's fine. But I do understand and have compassion for the Amanda that did not see those paths at the time. I just feel very
and like
bad
it's okay that you didn't go to prom.
Right. I never like
you're fine
myself.
now, even though you didn't go.
Right, but it's like an experience.
You would have had a marginally good time.
Yeah, I'm sure I had. Like I said, I had like wonderful friends. Should have just gone to prom. Not skipped Golden Corral that night.
But it's hard to skip Golden Corral.
It is.
Golden Corral's in your heart.
You couldn't pay me to go to Golden Corral now.
Like, I remember this was maybe on an MTV Made. A girl who made her prom dress out of duct tape.
Oh, that would have been a good route where I just made it for myself.
That's what I'm saying, is that you could have been the girl who made her prom dress out of duct tape.
Yes, I definitely could have. And then you wouldn't have never have had to know my size.
And you would, and you could have written size 00 on that thing. The tag.
Exactly. I could have covered my face.
Absolutely. Amanda, this was so great. I had no idea that we were such similar teens in our life and experience. I'm sure a lot of the listeners already know, but why don't you tell them where they can find you and your work online, everything?
Yeah. Well, if you have not somehow checked out Elise's other podcast, which I also co-host, the Betches Up podcast, Elise is our most prolific co-host. So if you like listening,
apart from Amanda, I'm on the show.
if you like listening to me and Elise talk, we do it at 2 to 2.5 times a week. So look for there. That's the biggest thing I want people to check out. Check out the podcast. We're having fun with it in this new post-Trump time. So it's not as heavy and Five Alarm Fire, I would say, as it used to be.
Yeah, we get to
And
talk about pop culture stuff too, and yell about Jeff Bezos in space. And
yes,
all that.
all
shit.
that. Yeah, definitely check it out today. The one we did this week, it's called Policing Women's Bodies Summer Edition. After you listen to this one, listen to that one. That one was really fun. And I'm at Amanda Duberman on Instagram.
Beautiful. And guys, as you all know, you can see all the photos from this episode on my Instagram. That's at Pandalise. Rate and review the pod wherever you're rating and reviewing your pods. And until next time, this has been the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast. Hooray! Oh, that was such a great episode.
Oh, good.